Hey investors, welcome back to Stoxpot, your go-to podcast to unpack what's happening around various stocks, industries and economy. It's me LEKSHMANmj, and today we are going to dive into America's automobile industry and Trump's tariff. In recent times, most of you would have heard that Trump saying that India's higher import tariff on American cars is unfair. In this episode we will see whether his own tariff measures help America's auto industry. So stay tuned as we unravel this complex yet fascinating tale. The American automotive industry is not just about shiny vehicles rolling off the assembly lines. It's a cornerstone of America's economy and culture. Cars are more than transportation. They symbolize freedom, innovation, and progress. Last year alone, over 3.6 million passenger cars worth billions of dollars were imported from Canada and Mexico, which makes them the key trading partners. Also, these imports are not random either. Many comes from factories owned by bigger car makers like Ford, General Motors and Stellantis. The reason why this matters now is because the recent policy changes have put the entire industry at risk. In early March 2025, Donald Trump announced 25% tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. This decision sent shockwaves through the industry because these countries supply critical components that are even used in American-made cars. But here's the twist. A day later, he gave an 1-month reprieve specifically to American car makers. So what does this mean? Let's break it down step by step. First, let's clarify what tariffs are. In simple words, they are taxes added to imported goods. In this case, a 25% tariff means that every car or part brought into America from Mexico or Canada becomes significantly more expensive. For example, if a car costs $20,000 before tariff, after this 25% levy, its price jumps to $25,000. Multiply that across millions of cars sold annually, and you will understand why everyone is worried. Now let's see why Trump imposed such tariffs. Officially, the goal is threefold. First one is to reduce illegal immigration and drug trafficking across borders. Second one is to shrink America's trade deficit. And third is to encourage companies to bring manufacturing back home, that is America. However, critics argue that these goals might not be achieved through tariffs. Instead, they warn of unintended consequences like higher prices for consumers and disruptions in supply chains. Supply chains are intricate networks that connect manufacturers, suppliers, and customers. In North America, due to decades of free trade agreements, automotive parts often crisscross borders multiple times during production. For instance, parts worth $100 billion flow between Mexico, Canada, and US each year. Thus, adding tariffs threatens to disrupt this seamless process, leading to delays and increased costs. Now let's zoom in to see who feels the pinch most acutely. Among the big three automakers, Stellantis faces the biggest challenge, since nearly 40% of its US sales depends on cars made in Mexico and Canada. Similarly, General Motors relies heavily on these regions for producing high-profit pickup trucks. And here is another layer of complexity now. Beyond tariffs, the auto industry is already undergoing massive transformation due to electrification and software advancements. Chinese manufacturers, known for being agile and innovative, already pose a growing threat in this area. Though existing tariffs shield American firms from direct competition with Chinese electric vehicles, adding levies on Canadian and Mexican imports creates unnecessary hurdles at this point. So now, with only a month's extension, car makers face a tough choice whether to rush to relocate productions to avoid future tariffs or whether to hope permanent exemptions. In case of relocating, it's not that easy. It takes years and billions of dollars to set up new factories. Economists estimate bringing all imports back home could cost around $50 billion, dragging down earnings for years. In the short term, though companies can stockpile parts and move some production temporarily, in the long run, without clarity on whether tariffs will return or how will they be applied, planning becomes nearly impossible for these companies. Uncertainty slows everything down from manufacturing speed to delivery timelines. So what's next? If tariffs take effect permanently, experts predict terrible outcomes. Some even opines that daily losses could reach $110 million, raising the average car prices by approximately $2,700 each. On one side, higher prices means fewer sales, which hurts businesses. But on the flip side, if tariffs vanish entirely, stability returns but trust in the long-term policies weakens. For now, American automakers work cautiously, thereby avoiding any drastic moves until there is more certainty. Meanwhile, policymakers must weigh economic realities against political agendas. So what do you think? Will everything become normal very soon, or will America shoot itself in its foot by alienating its allies and burdening its own citizens?